Levels podcast. I'm Justin Horo, joined by always the Triple OG Willie Mason. Mace, a lot to talk about, a really big review show, including a whole heap of YouTube questions this week, brother, off the back of asking the punters, our followers, just people in the comments, something a little bit different. We're going to be doing American sports at the end of the year as well, when the league finishes off. So there's a couple in there, a couple based off what we talked about last week with regards to the taking an origin game or more representation for New Zealand after what the Warriors did. A really big one. First topic will be Melbourne celebrating the 2007 and 2009 Premierships. I'd love to get
isn't it?
Love to get your take on that because you were obviously involved at the Bulldogs in 2002. There's, despite the form of the Knights at the moment, there's just a lot of chat in and around not only Adam O'Brien's future but also coaches that have been talked to on behalf of the Knights higher ups.
That's weird.
So that's
it's a
big,
weird situation.
That's big, mate. Considering, like I said, where the Knights are. But before we get into that, that was the weekend. A lot of sport on.
It was jam packed, wasn't it? I didn't do anything. I didn't leave the house. Probably about once or twice. Did a little bit of training. I'm back at the lab doing some stuff.
Yeah, how's it all going? How's the blood going?
My arms, it's heading into 4 weeks since I ruptured it.
Yep.
So I can start doing some stuff a little bit more.
Is that a quicker recovery than normal? 4 weeks, or is that about right?
I think it's all right. Like because it's the long head of it. It's not really. It's not the bottom how like. Finucane did, where bang, it's like 3 months. It's just, I don't think you really need it.
Yeah.
So a bit of training there at the lab and
Shout out to the lab.
all sport. Like there was union on. I obviously watch all the league games.
Yep.
The Matildas are playing. There's cricket. There's fucking fights. UFC. Like
I got
Crawford.
in the comments about calling them the Jillaroos last week.
Oh, you would. No backup from me. I was like,
just let us through the.
Like the UFC card, Gaethje, whatever.
Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, and
that was clean.
Poirier, that one.
Yeah,
it's like fuck.
That was a dog fight.
Brutal, wasn't it?
It was
Bud Crawford. Beat the shit out of Spence.
Yep, and actually, let's just get straight to it. So, the anytime try score is not too bad. Picks were pretty good. I guess the biggest surprise is probably the Cowboys.
Yeah,
we both liked the Knights, but we just thought Canberra Raiders being the dogs that they are at home, more of a coin flip. But I'm actually, speaking of jam, I'm on the Knights top 8, so that was a really good result. Maybe I played that the other way just on purpose. But Lukey.
Yeah.
Hylam Lukey Stowe, our little producer there at the back and partner, he hit Bud Crawford 9th round knockout. So I'm going to get him to get involved in our Bets Friends channel. We don't have to be specific to rugby league, by the way.
No, that was a great call.
I'm left because obviously you're not able to touch it. I've got to do all the heavy carrying in the group. Yeah. But geez, I might have to start going over to Lukey now.
And he threw that on our chat and I still didn't bite. I'm like, that's how much of a punter I am. I just don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't punt. Otherwise I would have went, chuck a couple of hundred on it for me. And I was cheering it on like I was.
Yeah, you're pulling for him.
Go Lukey. And then just like, round 9 TKO.
People who love a punt, responsibly of course, on any of those sports. Like I've had a little bit on UFC and boxing because of Lukey, because he's more he understands the game or watches it more closely than what I do. And there's nothing more exciting than when you feel like a fight's going your way and it might be like the 7th or 8th round and you've got him in the 9th and you're just going, hold on. Especially in the UFC.
How much of an agenda do you have? The guy's getting his ass kicked and you're like, don't tap out.
Yeah, it's good fun. So, we're going to have to add Lukey to the Tabs Bets Friends channel. I might give him my account number so he can go on. Make sure you don't cash out any of my futures that I've got going at the moment, like the top 8 Newcastle Knights and the top 4 Cowboys hurt me. That was that clipped the momentum a little bit. But if you're on there, make sure you go on the Bets Friend channel, the Levels Network. So when you're on the Tab app, go on there, find us, the Levels Punters Club. It's our Levels Punters Club podcast special on the Bets Friends channel. Started the week pretty well, kicked off nice and easy with an Alex Johnston double and South's 13+. Geez, South's just scraped home in the end, but I always felt like I was pretty confident that was a good way to start the weekend. What else did well? Obviously, Lukey did well. I hit Kalen Ponga, Avarillo anytime.
It's got to hit soon.
My man Ezra. He got a double. So the try score is there. I'm thereabouts. I'm thereabouts.
How was Chez's 300th? You went down there?
Oh, great. It was. I sort of chucked in the notes as well, but straight off the bat, super proud of him. 300 games, been through a shitload. You were there for a part of it. You know how rough it was. It
was pretty rough for him.
And not only at club level, but also at state of origin level as well, where he was on the outer there. He spent 3 or 4 years in the wilderness before coming back and captain him. So I said to Lukey, he goes, "How'd you pull up?" And I said, "I partied like I'd played 300 games." So we had a good one. We had a bus down there. Watched the game, obviously. All of us together would have been about 55 deep.
Yeah, right.
About 10 of us, or maybe 5 ex-NRL teammates, and then the couple from the 20s that he stayed really close with over the years. We got the bus back. He jumped on the bus with us. The team let him jump on the bus with us.
Mad.
Rather than getting it back with the boys to enjoy it with all the friends and family that have been through the journey with him. And then we had a full team function the next day. So shout out to Manly. They did a great job. Siebes was unreal. Scott Penn, the owner, he was sitting right behind us, and we were carrying on a treat during the game. We were blind too.
Yeah.
So I would have been about 8 or 9 beers deep before we'd even got off the bus coming down.
That's
you know how
good.
much you can drink from Manly? It's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
So
get some in.
Yeah, we knocked a few off. War screaming, carrying on a treat. Mestroff, the CEO, was great. They put on a great day for him. Not only on Saturday but Sunday and Friday. It was they made the occasion really good for him.
Even St George were like, because I was looking at the ground, right?
Yeah,
it was
they
like
did
20,
300.
and then I was like, fuck, oh my God, the groundkeeper going to get sacked here.
Yeah.
300, and it didn't drop. I was like, oh, fuck. Because I thought, at Brookie and all that kind of stuff, I expect that, but I didn't expect it from St George.
It's
good.
a nice touch, though.
It's good. No, it's good.
There, wasn't it? Yeah.
It is a sign of respect.
They just went through it with Benny Hunt, obviously, right? So they know how
totally
special
different,
it is.
but totally different.
Yeah.
300 for one club, that's fucking massive.
Yeah.
He's going to end up playing probably 350, probably the most for that club. He's probably beat Beaver's record.
He's got Cliffy's in front of him, the only one in front of him, 309. So he's got
Beaver
10.
play?
Beaver.
Oh, they don't count the Northern Eagles games, do they?
Eagles,
That's so stupid, but...
Yeah. He's got 10 more games to go. Cliffy had a pretty cool message for him. Said, "Come and get me," on the video, the tribute video that they had. So great weekend. Bit dusty for sure. Had to catch up on a few games today. Missed bit of the footy on Sunday, but caught up. I will rely on you for the Dogs game a little bit more. I just chucked it on the KO Anthony Minicellos.
Yeah.
So that's how I caught up on that game. But
you're not missing much for that one.
I've got a fair idea. So let's get into it. As always, levelsnetwork.com.au. Make sure you register for your email for updates. We'll give you early access to the subscribe list. So be sure to subscribe. So when all this stuff comes out, the merch, this is just a sample, but it's going to be very similar to what we're going to be rolling with. Hoodies, shirts, a couple of months away, maybe 6 to 7 weeks. So get on there early, sign up, and then you'll be one of the first to find out when we're ready to drop. Also ran a half marathon on the weekend too.
Did you fit that in?
I ran it on Saturday morning, first thing before I went down there, because I knew I wasn't going to be doing nothing.
Oh, good work.
Generally, I normally run on Sundays or Saturday afternoons.
It's a solid one.
So I knew I had to pump it out and get it done.
How'd you go?
Good. Running about 5:30 splits at the moment. So it was an hour and 50 minutes, 55 minutes, something like that. So
probably deserved a beer, man.
I'm trying to get some. I was blind. That's why I was so blind.
Yes.
By the time I got
been
on the
off
bus,
the piss for a while.
Yeah, I've been off the piss for a while. I got on the bus. I had like 3 beers. And I was just sitting there.
Yeah.
You can't move on the bus as well. So I was smashing them so quick. And really feeling the effects of the half marathon nice and early. But then I started getting a bit loose with the footy and getting into it. Also, YouTube subscribers, 14K. Here we come. Chasing that 20K. For everyone that's new, thank you for joining us for the first time. If you've just subscribed, thank you. Keep doing it. We're growing. We want to get 20K by the end of the year. And there were a few people that messaged or left us comments that they'd listen to us on Spotify or Apple, and then they'd come on to YouTube to come and subscribe. So really appreciate that. All right, the first one, loving the podcast and the frequency you boys upload at. Talking about other podcasts you boys remind me of, Bussin' with the Boys with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton.
Yeah, that's all right, that one.
Nice and loose, but such good insight into the game and makes it feel like you're in the room with the boys. Keep doing what you're doing, boys. That is from Tom Neal 4-3-5. I like that one. Oh, it's a good. I love that show.
It's good, eh? Is it Will Compton? He was like a defensive player.
Yeah, he's a bit of a journeyman. So I'm more the Will Compton. You'd be.
Yeah,
the
he's all right. Like he's all right. He's got some good chat. Will Compton.
Does.
That's good that they get massive access to all like the camps and all that kind of stuff now. All the podcast guys, because they've been like obviously with that team or anything like that. With the Raiders, I think he played with the Raiders at Will Compton.
No,
so
he's
like
Titans.
Was it Titans? I swear he played with the Raiders.
He might have played the Raiders with Stins.
Couple of games.
I think he's played like 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah.
Have you seen their? They had a really fun episode where they got heated with each other because Compton said he's a 10-year league vet. But one of them was on the practice squad. He didn't play a game the entire year. And Lawine goes,
"That's not a vet."
He goes, 9 years.
He just chipped in because of that.
Yeah, and it got heated. And he's like, what do you mean? Like all those guys you've done practice squad with all those years, were you saying that they don't count? And he's like,
isn't it a weird like isn't it a weird like sort of levels that they have there where just say here you got to play Origin, you got to play for Australia, for your country, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Over there you got to get all pros and Pro Bowls, right? And if you're just an average person, like I don't know how they measure you. Do you know what I mean? Like they just go off all pros and pro. If you haven't played anything and you're a 10-year vet, they still give you mad respect.
Yeah, that's true.
It's weird. Where here, if you played 200 games with me and you didn't play any rep games, I'd be like, fuck, who cares?
Yeah, okay.
But 200 games is huge.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like, if you didn't play Origin, if you didn't play for Australia, I don't think you get any respect in this game.
Because we don't have the it's not to that level of like state of origin, right? Or footy, because they don't have.
They don't have it. So all they do is all pro.
Yep.
They get like all defense. And then like the Pro Bowls.
And the Pro Bowls don't really count anymore because so many...
but it's been named into the Pro Bowl.
Fourth
but
guys
named into the Pro Bowl means that you're one of the best. But the All-Pro is the first team All-Pro is what they go off.
Yeah.
Because it's specifically
100%.
that position.
Well, if you get in that, there are specific bonuses in your contract too for all those sorts of... I think I would hold...
All-Pro higher.
All-Pro way higher than Pro Bowl.
Because there's some first team All-Pro.
Yeah.
And then like they didn't make the Pro Bowl. Who gives a shit? It's a fans. It's like it's a popularity contest.
But I think there's also contract stuff around Pro Bowls and that as well. That's why
not as much as All Pros, but.
All right, moving on to the next one. Just want to say, lads, you have reignited my love and interest for footy. I stopped playing footy 4 or 5 years ago and stopped watching it really for a bit. But the past couple of months, I've been watching every episode and basically any game that's on. I appreciate your work, boys. Adam Ralph, 1481. Love that one. Wow. I want to chuck that in there because the fact that, he loved footy for a long time, for whatever reason, stopped and he might have seen us pop up and got back in the game that we all love. Me and you both love the game. I think that's why this podcast does well. And
I think it's even like I told you before when I spoke to Ren, I had a coffee with him last week. He goes, "I'd watch that show regardless if you and Hoz. It's just that if the show's that good, I want to watch it. If you didn't know, and that's a big one from Ren too, because he doesn't give a shit. Yeah, really. He'd say, "I'm not watching it."
Yeah, or he just wouldn't say anything.
He just wouldn't say anything. Yeah, I fucking love the show.
Yeah.
And that's from all the boys.
He actually called me and said the same thing. He goes, "Bro, I just listened to your
they listened to ours
the other day." He goes, "It was so good."
But I think it's the consistency that we're putting it out, right? Yeah, it's like that's what it is. I think a lot of other podcasts don't really just stick like preview twice a week, so you can get the whole update. And it's the first time I actually watched our show, on the weekend. I was like, that's a pretty informative show, right? I was just like, no, I'm fucking, I don't really care, man. I'm just sitting here. I love the show. I know it's going good. I stand behind everything that we say. But I was like, just the production, like, Lukey, good shit. You're doing good. But I'm just saying, like, what we're saying is, like, spot on most of the time. Yeah. And I can see why people like the show. Yeah, well, you can see. It's a totally different fucking angle from like if you're used to mainstream. I think we're very different. We're in our own little niche. Like there's so many good podcasts doing great things. Yeah. Shout out to the Hello Sports Boys. All Talk With You that dropped last night. I'm keen to watch that. Yeah. I've just had the big fucking weekend, so I needed to get through the footy, but I'll probably watch it tomorrow. How did it go with the boys? It's good. And they're another podcast that are super unique to their audience, not only with the All Talk, but also even when they do their Monday shows, a bit of a giggle. Yeah, they're just fucking hilarious. The potty go well. It was good. As I said, like they just make everyone just feel really comfortable and like chilled, right? We're just sitting down. I didn't even know it was filming. And we were talking. I think once you sit down in that chair, it's on. It's on, yeah. But I think it's always just rolling and then you just sit in and then we start talking. They're like, oh, by the way, it's on. And it wasn't even by the way it's on. We just kept talking. I just sort of went, oh, this is it. Let's go. We sat there for 2 hours. How good. It was good. Make sure you tune into that All Talk with the Hello Sports, but also so many other great ones, great podcasts like Kempy and the boys at Bloke.
What else? And also, I just wanted to mention, we get so many comments, not specifically like that, but so many positive comments. And I sort of just let it go through the keeper sometimes because you don't want to be too far into yourself. But it is really nice to hear specifically messages like that. I really enjoyed that one, so I wanted to put it in. All right, this is not a bad topic, right? Based off all the stuff with RLPA. Before the media blackout, my young fella had a 5-minute window to interact with his favourite players before they were taken away by the media for interviews. Now they get out there uninterrupted for 30 to 40 minutes. He's got more photos and autographs than ever, and he's beaming. Talks about it every day. Media can shove it with their bias bullshit. All the players have done these last few weeks has made my young fella's day that much better. DJWP with a numbers on the back of it.
Yeah, wow.
That's a great... I've never thought about that.
Well, I didn't know what the protocols were like through COVID and like the interaction with fans and all that kind of stuff. Because all I'm used to was just fucking signing everyone's autograph after the game, everyone's autograph, and then just go home. Right? Something like that. I didn't know that obviously there was a window where they could just see their players. Yep. And it would have been done for the last 4 years. If you're a young kid, if you wanted Kalen Ponga's like signature or a photo, it would have been hard to get to KP, man. Yeah. Or a Latrell.
You're right, because it's so more than not, the stars are the ones that get taken away from the media scrums, right? So just say, for instance, Kalen does a Fox into a 9. That's hard, like potentially 20, 25 minutes that the kids get to miss out. I know still a lot of these players do those sorts of things and then make their way around the crowd, but it's just one of those little silver lining sort of things with everything that's going on.
So what's now? They can have free access to these players.
They're just getting that extra time that they can go around the stadium and sign the autographs. Because, like he's saying, normally you'd be going around doing the interviews, right? So, as you know, we get rushed in a lot of the time during playing days. It's probably a little bit different now, where they try to engage with the fans, probably even more. I think
what they do after the game. So I've been at a few games this year. Is they obviously do it after the game, and they just take ages before everybody gets in there.
But we used to get rushed into the
we didn't. It was almost we didn't do it. We didn't do that. Yeah. So you're waiting like sometimes 45 mints for like a Fox or someone to get in.
Yeah.
And everyone sit down and have their talk, especially when they win. When they lose, straight in.
Yeah.
Only when the way I was if I lost, I'm not fucking doing anything.
Yeah.
Like you're straight into your sheds and just like deal with your players and all that kind of stuff. Now it's like.
You know why? Because the coaches and senior players and that would go, why the fuck is he out there signing autographs? But now it's a little bit different, where I think there's more understanding of like how important it is to get around to the fans.
Yeah, it is so important.
But still, you'd like to think home fans preferably, and for sure when you've won. It's not like I would look down on anyone that's lost if they're going around and doing it, because it's still a nice gesture to go around, especially you got the travelling fans. Like to say, if you go out to win, and you got fans that travel.
I just used to think
2 hours to come watch you play.
I just used to think that they just wait after the game.
Yes,
if they really wanted to. That's what I used to just think. I'm like, all right, well, I've played in the sheds, win, lose or draw, whatever, and then celebrate, and then especially in away. I'm just thinking about away games, and then you just sign everything on the way out.
Yep,
that's what I thought, because I just want to be just around the boys after a win.
100%.
That's it.
Yeah,
I didn't think about signing everyone. That'd be the worst thing I could do. Well, I'll be there for a fucking hour.
And you didn't imagine, like back in the day with you with the camera phones.
You're never going.
Big Willie. Imagine people trying to take selfies.
Everybody wants a photo. Everyone.
It's like you working up Caxton Street.
Gone are the days where you just sign something. Yeah, sign it. Fucking photo. Jeez.
Speaking of Origin, this is off the back of our chat with New Zealand. I wanted to address this one as well. 59,358. That's the number that showed up to Origin 2 in Perth. Boys, I don't know what your problem is with Perth. There are so many Kiwi expats and Eastern staters living here for work who love league. There is a strong Rabbitohs and Warriors following here. This is his second comment on the back. I listened through Spotify. I had to come over and leave the comment. Love the content, boys. Again, I want to address this straight because I was the one that was more having a crack. You've talked about you loved your experience at Perth. I feel like Perth and Adelaide cop strays from me purely because I was trying to boost up Auckland. But I'd love for all of them to get a game. I just want Auckland to get representation. I want New Zealand to get representation.
Just go in that little bit of a rotation, right?
I didn't mean to hammer Perth and Adelaide because I know I was at Adelaide. There was a packed stadium at the Oval. You've talked highly about your experience in Perth. Apologies to everyone in Perth and Adelaide. I just think if we're going to play in those places, at least play in a country, a state, or a place that has an NRL team in the Warriors.
Yep.
So that was my only point. Apologies to everyone in Perth, because I do know...
Perth goes off.
Mate, my cousin worked over. There's so many people working over in the mines in WA. That
there's a massive
and they had
support.
the Perth, Western Reds, obviously, back in the day.
Yeah. So 59,000, how many do you reckon travel?
I'd say at least half.
Yeah, I reckon
maybe
too.
20,000. So 20,000 out of 60,000, about right?
Because I love it. It was a great atmosphere. That field is crazy, but it's the players that have got to deal with like the travel. Like, you don't think that 5-hour trip doesn't rattle you? Well, 2 hour time.
It's 3 hours to New Zealand, though.
Like 2 hours, the time difference, all that kind of shit. You get knocked out a little bit.
You'd have to go over.
The players over there, I think 10 days. They had the whole camp over there. New South Wales did last year.
Yes, that's right, because that was an advantage that they talked about last year. Because Billy didn't go over until late. Yeah. They did a lot of their. They didn't
did everything here.
They didn't go and embrace the media of it all. Right? They did it all in Queensland. So that's another great point. And they got blown out.
It was a hammering.
So that plays into that. They probably should have gone over a little bit earlier.
So I know because it takes about 3 or 4 days to get your fucking time adjusted and all that kind of stuff. So because I was over there with Braith, we were there for like 6-7 days.
Yeah,
it was a good joint. Ones. Fucking good joint.
Couple of
the casino's good.
All right, this is off the back of postseason, end of the season, getting into some NBA. Oh, you've just moved it. There's NBA, NFL, and here we go. I'm moving back over. All right. Love the content, lads. Scope, what's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers sacrificing $35 million over 2 years to help the Jets trade better players? Somewhat hear of this in the NRL, but there is indeed levels to this shit in any sport, to be honest. Popeye Unleashed. Mace, what's your view on Aaron Rodgers? What do you feel?
I love
I'm
Rodgers.
very biased.
He's my favourite player. I love him.
Oh, yeah?
I love him, yeah. He's everything.
Do you have a favourite team in the NFL?
Philly now.
Yeah.
Because of Jordan Mailata. Like, he's representing rugby league so good. But 35 mil, right? So he's sacrificing that. That's how much it means to him to win a Super Bowl, right? Yeah. He wants to win about 2 or 3, so his legacy means a lot more than money, right?
Statistically, so I think, apart from Super Bowls, he's outstanding.
He's the best. Like, he's a better player than Tom Brady. Brady's just got 7 rings, man.
Yeah.
Like everything else, like,
we're going to get hammered. but I'm just looking at eyeball test. I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, so
but like that just shows how much it means to him. He wants to win, and that 35 mil can buy some other pieces that they need defensively, offensively to protect him.
Yep.
Bang, they win Super Bowls.
Yep, yeah. I think it's an indication of, obviously Brady was so successful with the Patriots. He goes to the Bucs, gets that second Super Bowl with a second franchise. Peyton Manning did the same thing with the Denver Broncos.
He's thinking it can happen.
If he's going to. Like, Eli Manning's got 2.
Well, Peyton got 2 from the Broncos, right?
No, he got 1.
Only got one, lost 1.
Yeah. He got 1 at Indy, 1 at Broncos. Eli's got 2.
But he played in 2 at Broncos because they got beaten 1.
Yeah, they got hammered by the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And then I think he lost in the Colts against the Saints too early on. So I think he's been in 4, lost 2 maybe. Yeah. Someone will fact check us on that for sure. And then you've got Eli got 2 against the Patriots.
Yeah, he's got more than Rodgers.
Roethlisberger got 2 before he lost to Green Bay before we got him.
He's got to get 2 more. He's got to get 2 more.
He needs 2. At the moment, he's on the same amount of Super Bowls as Nick Foles.
Yeah. And Super Bowl MVPs.
All right, this one's a Rugby Union one, and we are pumped for the Rugby World Cup. Shout out to the All Blacks. Light work over the Wallabies as per. Chair Cuzzies up the levels. Quick question. If you were to choose a few current New Zealand Union players to transition to the NRL, who would it be and why? And what positions would you play them at?
Proper
Bennett's,
question.
Proper Cuzzy, that one. Bennett's 105. Who would be your player?
Artie Sevilla.
Yeah,
still. Yeah. He's still a man. He played back row easy. Left and right side. Because I think he's a left arm carry, so you could play on the left side. But he's traditionally a left arm carry, so he's got that right side palm.
Got the dummy of doom too.
And he's got like skills. He reminds me of like a kick out. Probably a little bit faster than kick out, I think. A bit more explosive.
Bit like Nanai?
But bigger. Like he's got mad skills, man.
Yeah.
I think he could cause a lot of trouble in league.
I want to get the measurables for
I think he's like 6'4", 112 kilo. Something like that. It's perfect build for a back row.
Yep. All right. While I'm looking at this as well, I'll get it up. Artie Sevilla is 6'2",
6'2",
and 102 kilos.
Way off. Fuck, I thought he was way bigger.
Yeah, but I could envision him playing middle back row too, like high work rate. Like his bread and butter is just cleaning up those rucks all the time. Still 29 years old. Fuck, he'd be nice, bro. He'd be really nice. I'm going to go.
Worth it even coming
there's
over,
multiple guys in the back, so I'm going to pick it back. There's a couple that I love for the All Blacks, but I reckon just on purely on size, Jordie Barrett.
Yeah,
Jordie Barrett. He's plays on the wing.
What position do you reckon Jordie could play?
He could be like a Zach Lomax out in the centres.
Yeah, okay.
Big body, nice skills, nice silky soft hands. He plays fullback. He plays centres. He plays wing for the All Blacks. Obviously, a strong lineage with his brothers that he's playing with. His brother could be, both brothers.
Like a Ryan Cross, isn't he?
Yeah, he could be a Ryan Cross. He's a nice comp. Yeah. He's a really nice comp.
He was a gun, Crossy.
He was a gun. I loved Ryan.
Just played in an era full of gun fucking centres, man, like Gaz and all those blokes.
And also the goal kicking too, which is really important.
Aaron Smith.
Yeah, no.
I don't know
hooker.
where he'd be, but
he's a hooker, straight up.
You reckon hooker?
Yeah, every day of the week. Yeah, perfect service. Perfect.
Would you want to play he's been playing halfback for the All Blacks, man. Goes straight into 9 in the league.
The defence, but
defensively,
Nug wouldn't suit halfback as much in league. He'd be a perfect hooker.
Yeah, I think the build is perfect for hooker.
Yeah,
but I just don't think he'd like that style of play.
He'd be he might be a guy early on, like if he was early on in his career, like a bit of uppy carousel, really good deception.
He'd be a gun, but I'm just like compared to what he's doing right now.
Yeah,
fucking darts. Hardly any tackles, you know what I mean? Compared to making 40 plus.
Imagine that nice.
Some big boys, bro.
Imagine if you get to a post and you're getting straight to the 3-man.
Gun, man. He's throwing lasers at you.
Yeah, so there are a couple of good ones. Let us know in the comments who you'd like out of all that. Whether they doesn't. This is just one of the brothers, obviously from Aotearoa. But if there were obviously Wallaby, Quade Cooper would have been a cool one, bro. I would love to have seen Quade.
Same.
Apparently, Quade was close in 2010 when I was at Para.
Really?
And then it got stopped last minute. But I would love to have seen him have a crack. All right. This is a basketball one, and this is going to be very divisive. I can see it already. Jordan and James are usually the only two in conversation for GOAT, particularly in our age group, right, Mace? If you're anywhere from 20 to 40,
they need
45.
to look at Kobe.
Thoughts on Kobe being in the convo? Love the content, lad, down here in little old Taranaki.
I'm Kobe all day.
You Kobe over Jordan?
No, not Jordan, over LeBron.
Yeah, so am I.
Fucking hell. It's Jordan and then Kobe and then LeBron.
I agree.
That's it. Like, by the eyeball test through the 90s and like early 2000s and stuff, Kobe was a problem. He was a king.
Do you know how many?
He was like a jacked up version of Jordan. Like his footwork and stuff like that was all over Jordan.
What do Kobe and Jordan have in common?
Killer instinct, man.
But what?
Like assassins.
Dog.
Yeah, proper dogs.
They got the dog.
Proper dogs. They went after it all the time. I don't know. That's just my personal. I'd rather have those two than LeBron.
Oh, same. I'd agree. I'd go Jordan 1 because I felt like. Yeah, you can see the way that Jordan talks about Kobe, even at the what do they call it, like the funeral presentation that they do over there for such a big name. Lukey might have memorial. Yeah, so the memorial, and he was like sort of Kobe was his little brother, but he was super competitive, man. He wanted all those rings too, and that Lakers team, bro, like
2001.
If it wasn't for Shaq just being...
He said he could win 12 rings if Shaq trained.
Yeah.
12. He wasn't lying either.
Imagine how frustrating that would be to just be like Kobe the way he was
and then have Shaq.
I've seen him talk about it recently too, where he's sort of...
He regret it, man.
He regrets it for sure.
It'll be hard, like swallowing your ego there. Some little guy just hammering you and you're the king.
And you are like the most dominant...
I think he could have been the best ever. If he just concentrated, I would hate that rap, man.
He had all the skills.
And even like he's a top 10 player of all time anyway, Shaq.
Yeah.
But they're saying that he could be the best ever. Imagine that hitting you, but you didn't train hard enough. You just, that would suck. That's shit that keep you up at night.
You didn't have that body science dog in you. Speaking of body science dogs, cookies and cream, low bar, moose bar. That's what we've got this week, Mo.
Nice.
So
you have a try.
A bar that defies expectations with every bite delivering layers of award-winning, multi-protein, delightful, crumbly texture and a mousse filling. Body Science low carb, high protein mousse bars are every protein's bar lover's dream with protein in every layer. Plus 3 grams of collagen per bar. Snack happy? You want to go halves?
No, you haven't. I'm all right. I'm going to fast.
All right. I'm going to give it a crack, eh? BC Mousse, do you want to read that? BC Mousse bars are currently available?
BC Mousse bars are currently available in Woolworths, Chemist Warehouse, online, bodyscience.com.au and in independent supplement retailers. Is that all right? Is it better than the other one last week?
Do you want to go through your body science dog of the week?
Yeah, my body science dog of the week this week. It was hard. We spoke about this a couple of days ago, and I was like, I didn't really see any massive standouts. I think Jerome Hughes was amazing. I thought he had a great time. I thought he had a great game. But I think everyone else was pretty quiet in Melbourne. I looked at the Brisbane game and the Roosters, and I thought that was probably the best game of the weekend. They went after it, I think, both teams. And
I agree.
They're just too good, the Broncos.
I agree on both.
Let's outclass everyone.
Roosters were trying.
They were up. They were trying up for it.
Yeah.
Payne Haas, 16, I think he played like 58, 60 minutes. His work rate is ridiculous. 16 hit-ups, 172 metres, 80 post contact, 21 tackles, 0 misses.
4 tackle breaks, 2
4 tackle breaks, 2 offloads. His work, but he's the key to that whole engine there. Like with Flegler and once Carrigan comes back into the middle.
Shout out to Paddy Tough Carry.
Yeah, scored a try after 78 games. I thought he was probably the other high performer.
Yep.
Him and Payne Haas. But if he was
in
the middle,
he doesn't have as much impact on the edge.
If he was in the middle and attacking wherever he wanted to, like he usually does after Payne Haas and Flegler, he's a lot more damaging. But he did a lot of damage on that right edge. Fucking Reynolds was after it too.
Walsh.
They're dangerous, man.
Very dangerous. I'm getting Paddy's up too while we're just sitting there while we're talking. So 80 minutes for Paddy, 14. Yeah. So he had 15 carries for 115, so he doesn't get as many carries. 36 post contact, 4 tackle breaks, only 27 tackles as well. So yeah, still effective, but nowhere near as effective as when he plays in the middle. So therefore,
he's best lock in the game, I reckon.
Yeah, he's mine. Yeah. He's my pick.
Yep.
Just over Cam Murray or Isaiah Yeo. Isaiah Yeo was outstanding, actually.
Yeo and Cam Murray are equal. I just think Carrigan's just a little bit above him at the moment.
I agree.
Simply because of their front. Because like Yeo is killing it because when Leota and Fisher-Harris dominate the middle, his third run is easy. Yeah. He can pick and choose what he wants to do. So when those two bulls are going at it.
But he sets them up really well.
Yeah, I know that, but he's the perfect... he's a perfect guy after. Same as like whenever Cam Murray plays well, it's when the middles dominate. It's hard, but his two props, the props that he has had in the last 5 years, they're not that dominant. Yeah, you give him two world-class props.
Tutolas.
You give him Payne Haas and Flegler. You give him Fisher-Harris and Leota. Yeah. See what he does.
Yeah. Well, that's what Paddy Carrigan's got.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? With him being that premier lock and light years between.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I still think Radley's capable of getting back up there, but just with the Roosters' form and he's sort of just lost his confidence, and I think that's due to all those suspensions and penalties and tens. And they sort of targeted him for a little while, and now he looks a bit gun-shy, which is disappointing because I love that.
4 years ago,
I love that
best lock in the game.
What's his tackles like? Yeah, 37. The Butcher brothers, Egan Butcher gets knocked out early in that one. All right, my body science dog of the week is the guy you just mentioned, Red Wine Rome, I call him. 28 years old, is like a nice vintage. I'm about to go over to Queensland too and treat myself to a little bit of red. So shout out to Red Wine Rome. 20 carries, 185 metres, 6 tackle breaks, 3 line breaks, 4 line break assists, 10 kicks for 373 metres, 1 try and 4 try assists.
That's the best stat line of the year.
Is that the best stat line of the year?
I didn't know what all those fucking things were. I was like, what are you doing?
You're trying to read...
I was just like, I didn't even know what TBS and OLs were.
Yeah, tackle breaks, line break assists. He did it all. He legitimately, we're talking about basketball before.
That's Wilt Chamberlain.
That's a quadruple double.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Oh, man.
However you measure stats, he did it. He was Russell Westbrook in that game. He'll love that one too. Actually, what's Romy? Romy's a Wizards man. That's Cole Kuzma stats, brother. There you go.
Oh, yuck. Get another team, bro.
Or I think maybe he was a Bradley Beal guy. Maybe he goes over to the Suns.
Yeah.
But what a performance. His form in the last 3 to 4 weeks, Mace, has coincided with Melbourne's form. They got checked last week by the Knights, but apart from that, it's been pretty solid, and it's perfect timing. They have the Penrith Panthers at Penrith this week.
Ooh.
So all those stats, Romy, you're going to need to double that shit because the other number 7 over there, he was close to my dog of the week purely with the kicking game, which I'll have stats on later when we review that game. All right, let's get on to topic 1. Mace, Melbourne celebrated the 2007 and 2009 Premierships on Old Boys Day, 25-year anniversary. Among the promise of a 25-year montage, a live guitarist and an Old Boys guard of honour on the night. The club has posted 6 NRL Premierships trophies with the years 99, 07, 09, 2012, 17 and 20 alongside them. To make it even funnier, they're playing Parramatta, who...
It's brutal, wasn't it?
obviously lost to them in the grand final in 09 while I was at the club. Didn't play that year, but how do you feel about that, Mace? Because like I said at the start of the show, during their 5-year period that they've got their point strip, they were $1.7 million over the cap.
Yeah.
During your stint for 2 years, 2001, 2002, you were $1 million over. Do they have the right to celebrate those premierships on field and then on the website, its socials? They didn't.
Yeah, they didn't hold back.
And the fact that it was against Para of all teams.
I think if you've played in the game, you played NRL and you've been around the game for long enough, you know that they won those premierships. If you understand how the business goes, if you've been around the block or not, you know how other teams do, how they run their businesses. That's why they don't care. You know what I mean? Like 07, 09, 1.7 over 5 years. Some teams would be breaking that shit over 2 or 3 years easy, and there's no repercussions or anything. So they understand that.
So you think just purely for the fact that more teams have done it in the past and they just got caught?
Yeah, they just got caught. That's all you're spewing with is you got caught. Like other teams are just so good at doing it.
Yeah,
and they can hide everything, and there's no like evidence, and there's no people like just snaking on them or anything like that going to the media because it's fucking tight.
Does it remind you of a team that we're pretty close to here in Woolloomooloo, Surrey Hills? Is that who you're alluding to?
There's a lot. No, there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that that breach the cap.
Yep.
And I think Melbourne's just like, they're not even feeling sorry for anyone. They don't care. They just went out there and went, you know what? We did win 07, 09. You tell guys like Anthony Quinn, Clint Newton that they didn't win 07. Like when you just say with us when we got our points taken away, they go, oh, you could have won the comp. Well, you didn't. We didn't play in any semi-finals. We didn't play in a grand final. So it's the memories of those guys. You don't know, but they know.
100%.
So they know 07, 09, they were the best team in the comp. So they're going to fucking celebrate it.
Yeah.
And it's cold as hell, but that's just how they think. And they're like, well, we paid our price. They lost GI. They stripped them of everything. We're still going to celebrate them because those players should be celebrated.
100%.
The memories are still there. So I think that's what, as I said, like you can't take those memories away from Jeff Lima, like Hoffy and all these sort of blokes come through. Sikamanu, that whole gang from 07, 8, and 9 that were tight as hell. You know, like you're not going to take those memories away. So I didn't care. I don't have a problem with them.
Bellamy was surprised when told that the Storm had not been back to Marvel Stadium since their emotional 40-6 win over the Warriors that following 2 to 3 days after the announcement. That was the last time they played at Marvel. That's crazy, eh?
Crazy.
So that was even more disrespectful in my opinion.
Yeah.
I reckon for all what you said, I fully understand it because you've been through it, you've lived it. I just think and I don't even, like I didn't play in 09, so I was at the club. I just think it's 100% their prerogative to celebrate it.
Yeah.
I would have celebrated it not on the field and not taken the piss because at the end of the day, all those boys got those memories for the rest of their lives. But you can have a mad function for them. Get all the boys together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't need to do it like that.
Doing it on the field was a little bit over the top, but it makes me smile too. Like there's the cheeky side.
It's a bit of a fuck you to the NRL. That's what it is.
Yeah,
like they're filthy on the NRL for taking their points because they're going, well, I know how other people do their business, how they conduct their business. Why are you going after them?
Yeah. Well, why were we the ones that got done?
Yeah. Why are we? We're trying to bring players. We're trying to bring players down. Trying to keep GI. Trying to keep Bill. All these gun players. Trying to grow Melbourne up. You know, that's all they would have been thinking. Well, here's another 50 grand, like a year, to please stay.
Yeah.
Like that's all it was, over 5 years. It just accumulates and look, comes up 1.7. That's nothing.
1.7 over 5 is not that much when you think about it.
No. You know what other, and that's the thing, when you've been in the game and most of these guys have been at some other clubs, they know what's going on.
Yep.
And they're like, you know what, fuck you. And when we get the chance to celebrate it, I'm going to put it in your face.
Not million, sorry, 325.
Do you know what I mean? They're going to put it in your face. Yeah. This is the opportunity that they had, 25 years, celebrating all their success in your face again.
I think
it's not a good look.
I think they're out of line, but it's a giggle to me.
But
it's enough of a giggle to me.
It's petty. It's petty.
It's very petty.
And it's fucking...
I love it because I still think it's wrong.
It is fucking so wrong, but I get it from Melbourne's point of view because they're like, you robbed us. Yeah. Like that's what they would be thinking. You took our 2. We didn't even deserve that. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Take our premierships off, but Yeah, as I said, the players that played in those games, 07 and 09, they're premiership winning players.
I'm playing in 07, 09,
in my eyes, they're premiership players. They're the best team in the comp.
If I played in those premierships, I would have run out of the tunnel with the players. That's how fucking pumped up I would have been to be there. So I don't not begrudging any of the players or Melbourne for putting it on. You know, just looking at the other teams, I think more so fans that would have felt disrespected. I know Para fans will be furious.
Yeah,
but they already hate us.
But
anyway,
they do it for that. Because Melbourne just think like no one gives a shit about us. We're down in Melbourne, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I think I'd do it if I was Melbourne as well. Do that. Of course, I'd be like, do that.
All right, another big story coming out of the NRL. Despite the form of the Newcastle Knights, Adam O'Brien's future is in turmoil. So it's been reported that the Knights are out of order by having higher-ups meeting Justin Holbrook. I've got some quotes here from the great and powerful Phil Buzz Rothfield and the very, what's the word? What's hoops? What's a description for hoops? Bored. Both bored. Looking like Gutho on the weekend, actually, speaking of Parramatta. I find this story incredibly hard to believe. Peter Parr insists he has not spoken to Justin Holbrook, and Peter Parr has never told a lie to me, Buzz said on the Big Sports Breakfast. I've known him for a long period of time. However, there are other people at the club, like the chief executive, Phil Gardner, and a couple of board members who like to meet with coaches or players on the side and have their input into recruitment and retention. Do you know much about Phil Gardner? Do you know who he is?
Yeah, owner of West.
Okay.
Not much of a footy guy. He's a business guy.
There's no doubt whatsoever that that after they beat the Melbourne Storm last week in one of the finest wins they have had in years, they went and met with the former Titans coach. So it's actually happened in the last 5 or 6 weeks. They've supposedly been interested in Maguire, Paul McGregor, Des Hasler, Johnny Morris, and Holbrook. And then that's from Buzz, and then it follows up a couple of days later with Hoops. What's really going on in Newcastle Knights is a power play between the Imperial Novocastrian leader, Phil Gardner, and controversial player agent Isaac Moses.
Isaac Moses. There you go. Should have fucking led with him.
So what's the beef between Gardner and Moses? It stems from being left jilted. Jilted at the altar on 3 big signings over the course of the last couple of years. In particular, Tony Staggs, our boy Harlem Lukey Stowe, and Lukey Stowe Brooks. So there seems to be a bit of a disagreement. And look, again, you're not the biggest fan of Isaac, are you? But this is now
apparently he's the biggest flog in the world.
Have you tuned
Worst thing for the game.
Have you met him much
yeah,
before?
I used to work at Stadium Australia.
Yeah.
When it was called Stadium Australia.
Yeah,
he used to work for who was the old CEO? Greenberg. He used to work for Greenberg. Greenberg used to run that because Greenberg used to work for the Dogs.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking like 98, 99.
Yeah.
So that's how long it goes back. And I didn't even know he was getting it. He's just fucked up. Like some mates that were underneath his management, good friends of ours, that he's fucked over.
He's got
never ever look at him again. And I was speaking to some really big hitters. That he's like the worst thing for the game.
Well, you know what? I got an opinion on this now. I was thinking about it, right? And I think there's a lot of people that just like Isaac. I've met him a couple of times. I don't mind Isaac myself personally. I think my old boy had a bit of a run-in with him back in the day as well. But I will say, I think a lot of people that try to get Isaac, it's almost like the journos when you bag a journo consistently. Like if you continually put his name in stories and all this sort, like it feels like people try to get after him, but in a way it probably helps him.
It helps him more than anyone.
Look at the clientele. He's still got so many big names. So there's a part of it with all this drama that always happens around him that it's almost a benefit to him.
Yeah,
right?
like I was speaking to big hitters at the Bulldogs and
because Roosters won't deal with him. There's 3 teams that won't deal with him. Roosters, Raiders.
Because Gus hasn't got the biggest rap on him.
Yep.
And he was telling me the reason why, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know what he was doing to clubs.
Yeah.
He's the worst kind of person for the game. You can't have it's awful. Anyway, I don't know what they're thinking with Justin Holbrook at Newcastle. I think what's his name's been going all right.
Well, see, so here's my rap, and I was always very critical of Adam O'Brien at the start of the year. I always assumed that it was his decision to move Kalen there. Apparently the chat was Kalen wanted to move to 6. So if that's the case, then I'm going to give him more leeway because
I thought that as well. I was off him. I was like, this is the worst coaching fucking move of all time.
Yeah. So if KP wanted to move there, then obviously it was the wrong decision for Caleb. Obviously, the way he's playing now compared to how he was at 6 and then what led to the injuries. But there's also a part of me that goes, all right, you're the coach. I've been in situations before where sometimes you got to find that balance where you obviously respect players, but then once it gets to a point like that ain't the best decision for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Fullback.
He's the leader of men there. It should all stop with him.
Yeah.
I met him in the preseason. He's an impressionable bloke.
Adam O'Brien?
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. We were just talking about coaching and just like managing players and, you know, all this kind of stuff, egos, characters, all that kind of stuff. We sat there for a good hour and a bit.
Yep.
He's an interesting guy. He's smart. He's
real
smart.
I haven't actually heard a bad word about him from anyone else.
So that's why probably if I didn't have those couple of beers with him, I'd probably have the different opinion on him.
It's funny how that's
weird.
Like,
when
you have a schooner with someone.
And it was like we just sat there and spoke like just normal men and just spoke about the game. Two blokes who just love the game and just love, you know, like coaching these young men into making them better players and all that kind of stuff. And just his insight. You can tell he's been under the tutelage of Bellamy.
Bellamy, yeah. Did he as Boozy, Bellamy, and no, that was Holbrook, wasn't he? So would they have no? Holbrook was
I don't know where Holbrook's come from.
Holbrook was Roosters. Justin Holbrook, and then he went over to Saints.
There?
No, he played. Didn't Holbrook play with you?
Yeah, but I think he played in Newcastle as well.
Did he?
Check that, Lukey. Justin Holbrook played for Newcastle.
Yep, he's
pretty sure he did.
But
I don't know. You got Madge, you got Paul McGregor, John Morris.
Yeah. So there's a worry, I think, with regards to players that are maybe Moses must look after.
Yeah, he looks after a lot of managers as well. I mean, a lot of coaches.
I want to see if look at also, does Moses manage Adam O'Brien?
Yeah. For the Knights, Panthers and the Roosters. Yeah, he played for Newcastle, so he's got a connection there.
Oh, there you go.
He's got a connection. Yeah.
Yep, there you go. That's always important, for teams. If you does Adam O'Brien, is he managed by Isaac Moses?
I think so.
Anyway, so you think Adam O'Brien?
I think Adam O'Brien should stay. Has he been there for 3 years? Is this his third year? 4 years? So he's made the.
This is his fifth year, I think. This is fifth year. I was looking at it.
And he's made the finals twice, the semi-finals.
No, sorry, he did. Yeah, he didn't finish ninth. He finished seventh twice in his first 2 years.
Yeah, and then didn't make it.
And then didn't make it the last two.
Then hopefully this year.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
So he's under the pump, and he deserves to be, right?
Yeah, of course.
You know, like with that roster that he has up there, he has got a fucking top 8 roster for the last 4 or 5 years. So they expect you to go through more than the first round of the playoffs.
Yep.
And they keep getting bundled in the first bit. So they want success up there.
He played as well. Adam O'Brien played 150 Super League games. Is that him? It is his agent.
I know.
There you go. So that's the drama.
Yeah. So there's the pickle there, right?
Yeah, okay. That's what's
so the punters need to understand that Isaac Moses looks after most coaches. So there's a little bit of a agenda there all the time.
Okay, here we go. 2020, 11 wins, 8 losses, 7th. Lost first week of finals to South. 2021, how does that add up? 12 wins, 12 losses. Did the competition go longer? Oh, because it's COVID year. 7th of 16, lost to Parramatta Eels in elimination finals. Last year, 6 from 18. 14th, missed the finals. So this is his 4th year.
So he's fucking just he's just surviving.
On.
He's just surviving.
This last little fucking run saved him for sure. Otherwise, he would have been dusted, I reckon, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
If they didn't beat the
who'd
they beat just before the Storm? They beat a team. They beat you guys.
Us.
Yeah. Before, if he'd lost to you guys, he would have been done.
We should have got that game. God.
It was a close one.
Yeah, I think, you Oh, my God. Yeah, and I think that's the one that turned his whole season around.
Yep,
but
for sure.
Like me knowing him a little bit now and the raps that he's got from other people that I know, and they're pretty big dogs in Newcastle, they like him. So that's half your battle.
I'm very much on the fence. I'm very much like...
Who can come in and do a better job than him, but...
Well, it would be. I know. I've been.
Des Hazard would have been mine.
If you could get Des, 100%. I actually like Holbrook. I think Holbrook can still be a good coach, but I feel like Holbrook and O'Brien are the same year. Yeah.
What are you doing? Like when you had the roster up there for a couple of years. But
yeah, true. But
he had a fair nice roster in the last 2 or 3 years.
Very similar.
2 years, right?
Like last 3 or 4 years, those two, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, well, you can't really get the best out of those guys. I don't think he got the best out of Fifita.
He didn't.
No.
Fifita played his best form this year. Well, that coincides with Kieran Foran coming there, so that was part of his recruitment. I would say probably the biggest blemish is, or thing that didn't work out for that would have sort of cost Ed O'Brien, is that he wasn't able to get the best out of Toby Sexton. Yeah. He's now gone to you guys. He looks way more.
He looks all right. He looks like, the
and for whatever
intangibles
reason,
are there.
He couldn't work up there for the last couple of years when he was sort of given the keys to the
He's a young kid too. He's got keys to the city. Keys to the city. I was like, keys to the what?
I was going to say keys to the car, and I was like,
that's got the keys to the door. What do you? So what do you reckon? Do you think they're due for a change?
I think if he can go on a run and save his career by Newcastle going on deep right, I think they'll make the 8. But he's had 2 out of 3 seasons, 3 out of 4 seasons making the finals is a great start, but you need to go past at least that first finals now. Yeah. So you'll get maybe potentially, if he makes the 8 or finishes 8th,
run into some fair sides too. Those
play
first
like
semis,
the Raiders,
man. Like
RABBITOHS could be those sorts of teams.
Yeah, like
love the Raiders again.
Parramatta and South, right?
Yeah.
In both those years, like last year, they were fucking on fire.
Grand finalists, both of them.
Yes,
in both those years.
So I can sort of give him a bit of leeway there. Like it's not like he got beat by Canberra or anything like that.
Yeah.
In those years, so I don't know. I think he's done a lot of work there with the juniors and everything like that. He's sort of embedded in Newcastle.
You might as well see it out for the next 3 or 4 months.
Like, let's see what he can do. Like, let's ride it out with Ponga and Saifidi brothers and all those sort of guys.
The Gamble Hastings Ponga that's why I'd like to see it out, because there's some potential there which we'll get to on the preview. Because
can you retain Bradman Best?
Very high, yeah. At what price though?
Yeah, that's like, can you get him there for the same price, or like is he going to go and shop himself around? Like, does he? That'll be a great indicator where if Bradman Best stays, because I want to stay there for the coaching and because of the boys. Yep. If he leaves, it's a fucking.
That's an indication.
It's an indicator that the club's going nowhere, because he's a young kid with about 10 more years left.
I agree.
So I think there's your indicator there. If Bradman Best goes, I want to sign here for 3 years, that's because of the coach.
And the right money?
The right money and the play and the boys as well, knowing that they can go somewhere. If he goes somewhere that he just wants, and you hear, I want to win a premiership, Newcastle's not in the right space.
He might not be the right guy, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Because there's no buy-in from Bradman?
Yep. Okay. He's a young man. He's only 23 years old.
All right, we'll see what happens and see how that develops over the next couple of weeks. Ready to get in a review on the games? We talked a lot about this game. Broncos were at home at the Gabba versus the Roosters, 32-10. I agree with you, Mace. It's not a fair indication of the effort from the Roosters, but levels network. Yeah. Broncos are indeed in a level. What have you done? You've lost my fucking notes on the Dragons.
I don't know where they went.
All right.
Sorry, we have Miller Note people at home, and they just touch these things and they disappear.
That's right. Awful. We can talk on that game anyway. I don't know off by heart. Broncos versus the Roosters, 32-10. I wrote the Broncos' physicality with and without the ball is so noticeable, man. Like when you're watching Broncos games, you can feel them. Like
they hit.
As an ex-player, sometimes I'm watching that going, ooh.
I don't want to run into him.
Like, I'm glad
Tony Staggs hit you.
Oh,
he's a fucking centre.
Paddy Carrigan.
Paddy Carrigan, his defence is unbelievable. Flegler tries to hit you. Everyone hits you with bad intentions.
Even Ezra Mam's a good defender if you run straight at him.
He's going to be one of the most unluckiest sixers in the game, I reckon. Not to play Origin and stuff. I'm looking at him going, he would fucking dominate Origin.
Yeah.
But you got Munster there for 3 or 4 years, right? Easily.
He's the sort of the
spoke about this before, right?
Renan Walshy takes so much of the highlights, but his X factor,
he's got everything.
My man Ezra.
Yeah, my man, your man, Ezra man. I like him. They like, because the Roosters come to play, right?
Yeah.
They were up there. They were like, okay, we've got everything on the line. Let's just go fucking balls out. And Broncos just went, all right, see what you got. And just went bang straight at him again.
They weathered the storm.
Yeah.
Would you tell me a little bit about the fight? Because I missed the fight. Did Crawford just go banging, or did he weather a storm?
Banged one round and then just went from 2 to 9.
Did they?
You're done.
Just bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Broncos were opposite. They would have been like an old Floyd Mayweather, just dropping the shoulder, filling them out, copped a couple of hits. Because Mayweather would always cop a couple in the first couple of rounds, right? And you're like, oh, shit, it's going to get him here. And bang. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, bang, bang. Points. And they just kept on scoring points like the Broncos. Tony Staggs is in good nick. Cobbo's in good nick. Herbie Farnworth is in good nick.
How do you stop the bleeding when you play against the Broncos? When they have that roll, they just roll through your ruck and then they kick it to you and then beat the shit out of you. They fucking score like every 3 or 4 sets of 6. It's crazy.
You just got to be like your first. You got to be super clean, bro. I feel the Roosters would have had maybe I reckon 2 or 3 4th, 5th tackle penalties in that first half, and every time the Broncos scored. There was one where like
super clean. You got to be disciplined like Penrith.
Hargraves was trying to rough up Payne. Did you see that? In a couple of them, and someone ended up taking a scoot just straight outside of him, led to a 55th again. You got to pick your times. It's like he did go into that game with the mindset of trying to get into him. Yeah. Payne just plays the ball and gets.
He don't care.
He don't care.
He don't care who's in front of him. He doesn't get rattled or anything. Yeah. He doesn't get physical. Like he just plays the game.
He just plays
hard
the ball
and fair,
quickly. And Hargraves is too busy pushing, and then someone scooted past him.
And people are just like slinging off the back of him when he's running like a big 15-year-old kid. Yeah. He's so strong.
It's like that 6-year-old kid up in Queensland. Yeah. You see the highlights of him?
Yes. Jeez, but that's what it looks like. And he's like, it's scary to think how good that guy could be.
The Roosters, they're done, obviously. That's why I didn't have them as part of even the predictions last week. I could see this coming. I've seen the Roosters' season is done despite what happened against the Titans. Well, you picked the Roosters too, by the way.
Yeah, I did.
You love letting me know about when you picked on me, but I've got to let you know when you picked
100%. I need to know. I was just like, because I have belief in them. Now I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But I just didn't think.
But they're paying an ass to play, though, for the rest of the year for some of these teams that are fighting for top 8, like the Parras of the world. I think we've got to play them. We had a look at it last week, didn't we? So
I was a little bit worried about the Bronx to see how they perform, right? Because this time last year they was just on the slide.
That's when they fell off the cliff.
Yeah, they fell off.
That coincided with
that's what I'm thinking. I think those guys right now thinking about last year and are just full fucking throttle to the ground.
Yep.
And then we're going to make a big run for it.
Who can the Roosters really be a pain in the ass for in the last couple of rounds? So they play the Dolphins. Oh, Manly, yeah, could fucking. They got Manly at SCG. They could fuck around and just ruin Manly's season. Dolphins, they're done. Parramatta 11th, fuck their season up. West Tigers
easily.
Rabbitohs in 6th, the last game. They'd love to fuck them up as well. So, I just thought there's levels to this competition right now, and Roosters aren't there.
I just find it like I was watching that game. I was like, when Broncos are on that run, I'm like, who can stop this?
Yeah.
Can Penrith stop it?
Yes.
Yes. That's the only team. That's what I'm thinking of. Can Melbourne? No, I don't think so.
They play the Cowboys this week, so we'll see what the Cowboys are capable of, because the way that the Roosters run through the Titans and then the Titans played well against the Cowboys, this is a match-up league. Yeah. So I think that game's going to be really interesting. I'm leaning towards more the Broncos than I
think the Bronx will,
especially with Valentine
get into that
Holmes
preview,
as well.
But like,
the first game on Friday night was the Tigers versus Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs win 13+, but just 18-32. I wrote down Alex Johnson's footy IQ is so underrated. He is about 30 tries off Kern Irvine for the leading try scorer of all time.
Less, right?
I think it might be less.
Is he on 190?
He is.
So it's 212 is the record. So 22 tries.
About 22 tries.
2 more seasons.
Yeah, 2 more seasons he'll get it.
He's going to get it.
He's going to get it. And when I say that too, I want to explain it too for the average punter, because I think sometimes people look at Alex Johnson because he doesn't score those fucking jumping out to the sideline tries, putting his hand down. He doesn't jump over people for tries. But if you give Alex Johnson the ball with roughly a 10-by-10 corridor, which a lot of wingers get and a lot of wingers fuck up in the NRL, he's got the ability, really underrated quickness in a short space to just gas and do enough. He's got very good hand-eye coordination and very good grip on both hands. He's obviously predominantly left because he plays left side winger, but his ability to stop on a dime. If you watch not this game, last week against the Broncos, so many times where they have that really beautiful, nice shape on the left edge where they come to Alex Johnson, he stops on a dime. Selwyn Cobbo and the cover defence, Adam Reynolds and Tony Staggs go flying past, and he stops Jinx, comes back in and finds a way to get to a line. Yeah. I think he's such an underrated player, and you got to remember, Wayne was really nearly going to get rid of him. If it wasn't for him taking unders at South a couple of years ago, right, they were going to punt him. So
I reckon if Wayne didn't even put that up there and go, sort of make him fight for it. I don't think he would have I don't think he'd be there now if you didn't question him. It was because he just come through the system and just like absolutely killed it in 2014. He's been there ever since. And I think Wayne's just sort of checked him because he had a couple of years that he was still scoring tries, but he wasn't as dominant as he is now. Well, like he does all the tough shit as well.
Yeah,
because they kick down his lane, right?
Yeah. He doesn't do like the. You're not going to see the Brian To'os from him. You're not going to see the Georgie Defoes, huh?
I don't expect that. I expect him to score some silky tries, and that's what he does.
And that's what he does as well. Latrell's presence, it's probably people expected Rabbitohs to win this game by more, but fuck, he's got a presence about him. Yeah. You see the try saver on Junior Tupou, where at the end he's really good at defending, where he backs off.
No, he's good. He was good. Just his, as I said, just his presence there, and just a couple of runs that I saw on the weekend showed me enough that I'm like, he's going to make a run for it.
Yeah,
because he gassed out when he gassed it. Yeah, but he did that, and I'm like, he peeled off at 100, and he got through swapping hands. Like he'd be unfit. He'd be just unfit.
Yep.
Kicking goals from the sideline, laughing with the crowd. That's what the Latrell I want to see.
How good is that?
It's fucking great for the game to have him back.
It's so good.
So there's genuine superstar. He's a genuine superstar. There's a lot of stars in the game.
I did
not that many superstars.
Did a radio last Thursday, and this is 100% true. So Matty was on. He does the show obviously every Thursday, and I filled in for Fletcher and Essie on the run home. Matty said this: South's biggest problem is they know that they can win it from anywhere in the 8.
Yeah,
and that's true. I reckon
they don't care.
They don't care. So like a lot of other teams would be trying to make the 4, and complacency sets in because Souths are capable of from the 40th to 70th minute. I was like, fuck, the Tigers could jag him here.
Yeah.
They were competing really hard. They were felt like they were on top for large portions of that second half, and then they just go bang, bang and score 2 tries. And I think, that mindset is a part that sort of holds them back from the Penrith and the Broncos and the next level because they know they can fuck around and
that's the calibre of players they got. Like everyone's in on Penrith.
Yeah.
Like they're all in. Where like South, not saying they're not all in, but they just got that swag. We've got that swag where they're like,
not as disciplined.
We just need to be in the 8. Yep. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Like Latrell has missed 10 games, and Cody's been very consistent. Cam Murray, all these guys, they know they got the team to put it together, and they've been together enough and long enough that you don't have to build chemistry. You don't have to build all these combinations. It's already there. So they're like, all we need to do is find a fucking spot in that 8 and let's go from there.
So I
think that's their attitude all the time.
They'd be favoured against any team in the 5 to 8 range.
Yes.
Then they play the team that's just got dusted by a really good team to go into the finals the next week. Then they got the big occasion, but they've played so many preliminary finals and finals
6 in a row.
Last couple of years. So they'll be better than most teams.
It was good to see the halfback Ilias. I think he had his best game the last 6 weeks.
He was good, wasn't he?
It was good. It's good to see because I was worried about that. I was like, oh no,
bit of a kick in the bum.
Yeah,
because there was chat around finding a spot for Blake Taaffe because he was playing that good, and Lockie didn't have a kick, one single kick, in that game the week before. Weird. So put a nice little one for Colum and Tongue. Yeah, he does kick really well. It was so interesting start.
Did Cody Walker just take all the kicks?
Yeah, he did.
And he's not like a massive kicker like a Moses, where Moses dominates kicks. Like you think they'd share that around?
Yeah, not one kick.
Weird.
All right, moving on to the Storm versus Eels. Speaking of Moses, 46-16 for the Melbourne Storm. My dog of the week was in this one. Despite the scoreline, I wrote this down too. You're looking at the notes, and I'll explain a little bit better, Maze. I feel like their culture and their experience often covers up some holes that they've got in their team. So you've obviously got the big 3, the modern day big 3: Munster, Jerome Hughes, and Harry Grant. Outside of that, you've still got a lot of Melbourne Storm like battlers that they've had in years past, and that's what comes with what's happened with the salary cap, right? But I speak of the Josh Kings of the world who's doing a great job. The Tyrone Wishart, the Alec McDonalds. When you're missing Big Nas and Jazzy Olam, who are X Factor players.
Got dropped, Jazzy Olam.
He got dropped. Yeah, he did get dropped.
Legit
he played Queensland
dropped.
Cup. Yep, there you go.
Fuck.
I just don't think they've got what it takes to match the top teams. Like when I look at Broncos, when I look at Penrith, when I look at even Souths and Cowboys, I just think they're a tier below with. I think they're top heavy with the big dogs, and they need to some of these players need to take a step up, and they need Pappy to come back.
Yeah.
I reckon Pappy could be that X factor that could. I'll wait and see what happens. But despite that, 46-16, right? Christian Welsh, unbelievable through the middle. Harry Grant was he's a big chance of winning the Dally M, I reckon. Right, Harry?
Biggest
quietly doing down in Melbourne.
Yeah, but like Jerome Hughes was on. He was on another one, right?
Yep.
And that's what takes them to another level. It's like, and then even Munster showed some brilliance at the end with that try, sort of, like just fucking around and just, But
he must be fucking so hard to tackle, mate.
Strong man. He's got that Mong strength.
Yeah.
But you take Harry Grant, if you silence Harry Grant and just say Jerome Hughes, like you think Munster is going to have a crack, Sometimes like Munster's not always on. So other teams, when you play against Penrith and you're playing against the Broncos, they're going to try and shut all those great players down. And they're going to try and make a Nick Meaney win it for you.
Penrith do a good job of stopping Munster.
Yes. They do. But they'll take all those good players out of the game and go, all right, what are you going to beat us? Yeah. Nas are going to beat us down the right edge. You're going to put him in the middle, offloads, all that kind of stuff. Like you're going to ball the shit out of us because we'll ball the hell out of you, but we've got more attack. I
wonder if they bring Juzzy back for this week against Penrith. Juzzy Olam would be because young Tonham Tapia and Marion Sevo were pretty nice too, weren't they?
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's the difference between the Broncos, Penrith, and then Storm.
What about Parramatta? That's them. Yeah, slide out of the 8 and they're done.
They could have made a run for it.
Dill Brown back this week.
If you had Dill Brown, if you had RCG, and you had
the week after Sevo.
And Lane and Sevo, then they needed everything to fall into place for this run to happen. It just didn't happen.
Me and Luke, you were talking about him today. Well, just in general, I think Para are going to be so well served next year. Para fans are not going to want to hear this, but I think next year they're going to be a proper threat again. So you think about this year, everything that went wrong all the way dating back to the scheduling and Ryan Madison not playing the first 4 games, injuries, Moses' contract, Dill Brown situation, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for Parramatta and they're still floating thereabouts. But next year they'll have Brendan Hands with a year's worth of experience. Obviously Hodgson's gone, so they've got Joey Lussick that they brought back for a couple of years. Jermaine Hopgood is knocking on the door for Origin.
Yeah, he's good.
Sean Lane hopefully won't fucking be injured 3 times in a season. Ryan Madison hopefully won't miss 4 games by not paying a $40,000 fine. All these things that will lead to, I reckon, how much? $4,000 fine.
$4,000,
yeah. $4,000.
No, I was going to say.
Actually, I was trying to make it feel better in my head.
No. Don't make him feel better.
$4,000. For all these reasons and, for Brad's underrated ability to develop players like the Bailey Simonsons of the world, who's had a full year of centres now, who's starting to look a lot better. I think Parra will be really good and strong again next year. They're a proper bounce back candidate for me, but I don't think it's going to happen this year.
No, I think they're done. Like, imagine saying that you made the grand final, you pretty much got nearly the same team, you don't make the 8. You think how, like, you lost Reid Marnie, right?
Reid Marnie, Isaiah Papali'i, Murata Niokora. Lost a couple of
good
guys,
players,
man.
But they're not like fucking. You're not losing Harry Grant. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not losing
they didn't
Munster
lose,
or anything like that. They lost a few players. Like they didn't
speak in their lineup. So you're not losing Moses, you're not losing Gutherson, you're not losing Dylan Brown. Those are the guys that didn't want to lose, and they were able to retain them.
You still got Paul. You still got big Junior and big RCG and Lane, and you got these young kids that you think you could replace Niokora. You can replace Papali'i. You're not really worried about him. Reid Marnie's a bit harder. Reid Marnie's he's a fucking good player.
I found where you put my thing.
Yeah, I didn't know where I put it.
You put it down in the Panthers Sharks notes.
Do you know what I mean? So, Reid Marnie is hard to replace. That's about it. The other forwards are very easy to replace. So they'll be sitting there going, they'll be shattered at this year. You'd be thinking, what could go wrong this year for us not to make the 8?
Fuck,
all that shit.
Isaiah Papali'i was pretty good last year.
But all that shit, like you just said, Lane getting injured, like the Brown thing, Moses' contract. So all these things that accumulated into them not making the 8.
Yep, I agree. So
and it's probably of course.
Yep.
But that's the only team that can ever do that is Para. They can go from nearly winning the comp to not even making the 8. They've done it before.
They have. Yeah, I think they have done.
It's weird.
It before,
It's a weird sort of vibe that gets there sometimes at Para.
All right, moving on to the Raiders versus the Knights. Mace, we both took the Raiders reluctantly because we thought they were full of dogs, but it was a coin flip and the Knights were outstanding, mate. It took a while for this combination of Hastings, Gamble and Ponga, specifically because Ponga missed so much footy, and then they had Lockie Miller playing really well during that period. And then even when Kalen first come back, it's like he was a little bit unsure, even though he was captain. It sort of become Jackson Hastings' team in a while because he was so ball dominant, and it takes a while for people. A lot of people won't realise how hard that is. Where you look at teams like Penrith with Nathan Cleary, everyone knows that him and Yowie, it's their team, and there's a combination, and you can build, and everyone then gets their depth, they get the timing, everything flows nice. I was watching that game on the weekend. And their flow, because everyone fully understands their roles now, is so much better. Despite there are a couple of moments, like I think on the Gamble try, Gamble's pass to Ponga was awful. Goes behind him, he catches it, then he has to speed up again. I think there was a couple from Jackson Hastings that hit the deck that they were scooped up and picked up, and that I believe that's happening now because everyone, even though the execution might not be on all the time, timing is precise. Yeah. Players like you look at Lachlan Fitzgibbon and Bradman Best in particular, they're playing
on fire,
as good as they've ever played. And even on that right edge, Gags, nice little touch to Dom Young, who's finishing off everything. I thought he was very unlucky on that second try when he dunked it.
Played homage to Manatahu, one of the greats.
But yeah, they're flowing at the moment, Knights.
Yeah, I like it. And as you said then, with Hastings being a ball dominant player, there's some games there last year with the Tigers, he touched the ball fucking 90 times.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Get out of my way. If I'm a forward, don't pass me the ball. That's just like passing the ball to every single fucking person.
Well, I think they're used to it now. They actually don't mind it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he's probably cut it down to 50, maybe 45, 50 because he can't really touch the ball that many times because of Ponga and because of Gamble. You got to put them all into the game.
Okay, yeah. So he didn't have the Ponga and the Gamble that he could rely on last year.
Yeah, last couple of years. So he's doing it all himself. So he's taking a backward set and he's more quality than quantity now.
Yep.
He's sort of got his own role there. He can just sort of go everywhere he wants. You got Gamble on that left edge. It seems to be working all right.
I'm trying to get it up now. See if we can get the receptions.
It's not 90. Put it that way. Just go on the stats.
Yeah, I am.
So I think they've got a good thing going on that left edge now because he is killing it.
Why isn't that sliding across? That's weird.
Fitzgibbon.
Yeah, Fitzgibbon's playing good.
Killing it.
Fitzgibbon's playing good.
Bradman Best, the Marju, that whole left is humming. Did he score fucking 3-4 tries?
It's strong. Who?
Marju?
No,
on the weekend? No?
One, yeah. So Dom scored one. Kalen scored the first, so they made a break down the left-hand side to Lachlan Fitzgibbon, actually. Finds Kalen.
Yeah.
Marju, Gamble scored one. Young scored one. Who else? I think that's it. There might have been a couple of penalty goals as well. Or there'll be one more try.
Yeah, I like the way the Knights play, but they're tough.
That's the second time.
Phoenix Crossland, he's been good. So it's the combination because they've been missing that young Brayley kid. He's been in and out and just horrific injuries and unlucky, but they haven't found a 9 to replace him.
Yeah.
Now they have. Phoenix, I think he was a 7. I think Matty Johns or Joey was saying something about him. He come in there as a 7.
He was.
Didn't really work out. They just threw him to the Wolves. Yep. Didn't work out, and then he sort of put on a bit more weight, muscled up a little bit, got his defence intact, and he's going really well.
Here we go. I've got him here now.
Got it?
Sideways. Receipts. 66.
66.
There you go.
That's still a lot.
Yeah, it's still a lot.
That is still a lot.
What did you say
just
before?
Comparing to other 90. 7s. Comparing to other 7s, that's still a lot of
I'll go to Canberra.
Go to Canberra. See how many times Fogarty touched the ball.
He'll be nowhere near as Fogarty won't be nowhere near that much.
But I'm saying that's the difference, right?
Yeah,
would you want a 7 who touches the ball 3 times a set of 6?
You've got to have
a fine line.
Why isn't it fucking working again every time?
It's a fine line, right? So I think he's figured it out, and it looks good.
Anyway, so Raiders. This is the second time now Raiders have 2 stinkers at Canberra. When you expect them they're almost the Warriors game. Croaks is 300th. They don't have it on that one, but lad, you've got to go on the
proper stats.
Yeah, the proper stats. Yeah.
All right, that was my only hope. Give me some Sonia.
Fogarty, what did I say?
66.
61, Fogarty.
Yeah, all right. I want to see what the average is. Go through some 7s and see what the average is.
Oh, this is becoming hard work with this.
Sorry, don't worry about it.
No. We'll see. Let's go to Nath. I'll go to Nath, right? Let's try to get Nath up.
Yeah.
So you're right. He's pulled it back.
Yeah. When you say 90, 90 is
I think he was averaging in around 100, it felt like it, at West.
Just too much. That's just too much. Yeah. I think the average is probably 60 to 70, I think.
Yeah. Well, you got Nick Kennedy obviously done
because he's ball dominant.
Nathan Yowie only 37, so he's pulled it back a little bit in this game as well because I feel like he touches the game more than
he had more hit-ups,
more game than that. He was outstanding. Yowie was close to my dog of the week, man. Again. But then you got Dylan Edwards. Despite the kick returns, he's not going to touch the ball as much as Kalen Ponga, who's
Lua only gets it pretty much off.
Yep, Jerome 46. The Raiders disappointing, very disappointing considering everything at stake and their points differential.
Yeah, like Sticky would be doing his head in. There's two guys I'd love to be like at a club level with where they. It's Craig Bellamy.
Yeah.
And Sticky to see how they react when it's half time because full time, full time's done, right?
Yeah.
You can just go. You can't get it back.
No.
But at half time, you can fucking unleash hell. And
they coach you at Origin level, didn't they?
Yeah, but you just don't. You can't do that at Origin.
Yeah.
You're not getting it. Like you're playing with the best of the best, and at test level, you're not really ripping anyone. You're just going in there. You're just not. You know what I mean? But at club level, like imagine what he would have. Who's the back rower? Hudson Young.
Huddy Young.
Probably had his worst game of the year. You know, like what do you say to him at half time?
I think that's the sort of player Hudson Young is. That you got to live with that shit though. You know, he's not your typical 15 carries straight up the guts, make your tackles. He's an X factor, man. He kicks on the second tackle sometimes.
Yeah.
Like he drops balls trying to score. So I feel like if you got Hudson Young, Sticky's developed him well over the years because he was really raw. You remember it was like he used to come off the bench. He got dropped for almost a whole season there for a little bit. But it would do your head in if you're a coach.
Yeah, because I don't think he's ripped one of those games out in 2 years.
No.
Even like, Fogarty and like just a couple of their forwards, like he just would have absolutely roasted him.
Fogarty's a couple of rough weeks now in a row. Like you think about the kick dead against the Warriors. His kicking game.
Sticky was a 7, remember, and he's very competitive and he's a little, he will fucking go at you.
Yeah.
I don't think Fogarty would have been in the safest space at halftime.
I've seen.
And they come out and continued it. Some of those games, just like, we're not here.
I just wrote down Raiders. If they don't get in a dogfight early, where it's just like a bit of a shit fight and a bit messy, and it's messy for both teams, not just Canberra, then they don't really have a team they're front runners only, or they don't need dogfight. They couldn't.
When it's 22-0, like who's going to score?
No.
And I think they probably have a look around going, it's going to be a tough slog second half.
Yeah. That Warriors game was an outlier where they scored 2 tries in like 3 minutes. Other than that,
that never happens.
All right, moving on, the Dragons versus Seagulls. The Seagulls, the Bird Gang, get the job done 24-18 for our mate, Daly Chair Evans, 300 the best. I will just write, shout out to Croaks. Croaks played his 100th as well. Him playing his 100th on Chez's 300th it almost just sums up what Croaks has been like for Manly.
Yeah.
He's just like, again, overshadowed. He's sort of like the forgotten man. But, I was chatting to a lot of the boys after the game and the next day. He's loved there, mate. They love him.
Is it just me or has times changed that much? Like, I don't even remember my 100th game. That would have been in 2004. They celebrate 50 games and 100 games, but like usually your coach or like just say someone, I think Scott Sorensen played his 100th game and his missus gave him his jersey.
Yeah.
Has times changed that much?
Yeah. Yeah, they all do it now. They all do it. They all get
Is it you have to get your family on something like that? Like
not necessarily. I think
Claire Bear would have just went, fuck no, I'm not giving you your jersey. I can imagine Sandy O'Mealy giving Mark O'Mealy his jersey because she used to write down his stats every fucking game.
She? Oh, she probably loves it.
She was more harsh than any other critic.
Yeah, love that.
It ruined his night.
I love that. Yeah, no.
I don't know. Just time changed. Like he misses to give you a 100th jersey. Like rather from the coach or. I don't know.
Or from an ex-player or mum and dad sometimes, just depends on what relationships you've got in your life, I suppose. But 100, he's loved there. Croaks, he was outstanding. Let's get to the fucking right edge. Big Schmoll, anytime jam, tick. The Juice, Tolu Kola, anytime jam,
That's
tick.
why I was interested in this game. Because of you. Yeah. I was like, I knew we had something on it.
And when Sabi plays like that, with that edge, like that, if they can stay fit, man, that edge is a problem.
Think about danger, man.
Think about the size purely of like Homolo Elkwatu. He's the size of you, mates. I seen him after the game. Man. He's fucking huge. You got this little nuggety Tongan centre who can run fucking 100 metres in 10 seconds, and you got a winger who can is faster than him, and he's tall and he's rangy and he can, off the kicks. That when he slid past Sloaney there at the end, it's like you're looking at that edge and going, ooh. And then you got Shuey, who's been quietly really good in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Defensively, good.
He hasn't been highlights good.
He missed one tackle when Benny Hunt went through, I think.
Yeah, the second one?
Oh, no, but that's about it. But, other than that, he's been because I watch him fucking close.
Yeah, same.
But I don't care about his attack. I watch his defense. What's he doing in defense? You know what I mean? Because he takes some plays off sometimes.
He's been a lot
better.
But
he hasn't been. I'm just giving him his props. Yep. He's been putting his body there. And that's what they want to see. That's what the middles want to see.
You know what I love to see? He got off the left edge. So he come over.
He went on the other side. Went on the right side, didn't he?
He was playing. I don't know if they've made a conscious effort.
That shape looked unstoppable when he come over to the right edge.
Yeah, I don't know if they've made a conscious effort to do it, but he's playing a traditional 5'8" role. Ches is playing on board more, playing in and around the ruck, and he's out the back of the shape because his best work is the 2-pass freshie out the back where he gets the block for a block because
the way he holds the ball, man.
Oh, the way he hits the fucking ball runners like that. Tui Pilotu when he made that break from yardage off the back of Kola who found him.
But the way he holds the ball when he's going to the line and his little jinks and everything like that, like for a defense, like some players they're going out the back, it's the way they hold the ball. He can hold it upright like that and just tilt it and hit this guy flying around the back That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so, if you're playing against him, if you're a middle, you've got to get up and close his time off. You can't have him waltzing up to the line like that. You got 3 choices.
Yeah, they've been teams are trying to cut him from
A
the
and B.
outside.
You got it. Yeah, you can't. You need your A and B need to come up straight and just fucking inside hip. You got to guide it.
But you know what? So this is why it's working because they can't do that. A and B are having to hold square because Ches is on ball playing 7, staying nice and square, got the lead at the front. You got big Matty Lodge running a genuine line, flick out the back to Shuey, and then all the shapes coming from the outside. Ches also told me Jakey, he reckons his halftime speech was as good as it got.
Yeah,
he reckons.
I love Jakey.
You know Jakey well enough.
Passionate, isn't he?
He goes.
He'd be filthy. He'd be filthy, wouldn't he? He would have been filthy at halftime.
They were up 12-8, but he's like. He felt like they wouldn't have got home if it wasn't for Jakey's speech. That's how good it was. So
I love
shout out to Jakey, love him. The Tui Pilotu injury from Jack DeBellin's hip drop.
I didn't like that.
I thought it was very soft.
Yeah.
Like injuries are going to happen. I feel sorry for Christian Tui Pilotu.
It sucks. I just don't think it was a traditional hip drop, right?
No.
Just lost his legs. There was no malice in it. There was no proper hip drop. He lost his whole body.
They talk about this twisting motion now. I think is really important. So, like, if you're holding it, there's got to be, just say if you fall on top of it.
You can't go around the back.
But you can't twist. Grab a leg and hold and twist.
He didn't do any of those.
I still thought it was very soft.
He still didn't do any of those. It was just some of those tackles just go wrong.
Yes.
And that was it.
Yeah.
There was nothing else in it, man.
I feel sorry for fucking Tui Pilotu, but
I feel sorry for him as well, but it's just like, well, there was no real malice in that.
He's
intent.
I feel like sometimes Jack DeBellin very similar to Victor Radley, where
he toes the line, plays it tough.
He does. He's involved so much, and he's so aggressive. And this one wasn't even aggressive.
He's not a dirty player.
But they seem to be fucking getting him a fair bit. And again, that's when you start. Then doubt starts creeping in.
Do they put into mind? Just say like, I think Jack's been on there for 65 minutes straight. He's fatigued.
Yeah,
this is what happens. Or most of these hip drops that are happening when you're fatigued.
He's making 40 tackles a game.
But when you're getting pumped, like St George, like just because he's making 40-something tackles, he's probably making 60.
They actually
he's doing everything.
Off. They actually got better when he went off. They scored 2.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? Sloan was killing it.
Yeah. Speaking of killing it, the Panthers 28-0 against the Sharks. Clinic. This is what I watched this. I didn't KO mini this one. I watched it because I just wanted to watch the Sharks.
You couldn't have watched that.
I was out on the piss, but I watched this one today, and you gave me the heads up that the Bulldogs one was a bit of a tough carry. So I watched this game, and I legitimately think, like, you imagine playing the Panthers right now. It's like, some of the great teams over the years where like even playing the Bulldogs back in the day for some teams, where subconsciously you're beat. You don't know it. You don't think about it. You don't never talk to your teammates about it. But imagine watching video on them like before the game. Like now, the Melbourne Storm are going to do video on the Penrith Panthers this week. It's like we talked about it before, taking away Munster or Jerome Hughes or trying to take Harry Grant for Melbourne or whatever. what can you take from Penrith? Like, it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Like exactly. They couldn't have said any better.
And mate, they just can get you in so many different ways. And it starts with obviously Dill Edwards, Brian Toto, and Taruva's kick returns first.
Man.
You need to somehow stop that, but it's so hard because Nathan's kicking game pins you down in your own half of the field. His kicking game was outstanding. Let me give you some of his stats. 2 40-20s, 2 try assists from kicks, and 3 forced dropouts.
Sometimes when he gets injured, he must be in the lab just non-stop kicking. Every time he's had some sort of injury, 4 to 6 week or a suspension or whatever, he comes back and he's like just fine-tuning, man, every time he gets those little injuries or whatever, or suspensions, and comes back and he just kicks the shit out of people.
I doubt this one because he's had the groin, but
but like, why does he look better?
Yeah, I know.
But seriously, like there was some games before he did the groin. I'm like, he was giving all the kicks to Luai.
It was.
He wasn't goal kicking.
He must watch a shitload of video. A shitload.
Just all up here, isn't it? Yeah. Visualization. He must be all into that. Yep. He's a fucking gun.
He's a weapon, eh?
Luai he just thought, you know what, I'm going to have a crack this week. You just don't know who's going to be on in that side. That's very dangerous. Like, I think
Scotty
they started,
Scotty Sorensen was really good.
He's good. So what they started, Leota off the bench. And they put the young kid Smith on with Fisher Harris. So Fisher Harris does 12 hit-ups in like 20 minutes.
Do you reckon that's because they had Hamlin Uele on the bench?
Yes.
Uele?
Because they wanted some sort of impact from – because I don't think the big blonde kid Smith – gives you that impact where Leota is coming off.
Do you think because there's no Spencer Leniu as well, so they missed that punch with Spencer Leniu, so you can't, like, if you're looking at Eisenhuth, Lindsay Smith, all those sorts of guys,
Smith,
you're not going to have the same punch coming off the bench.
They're slower players. They're workers. The Smith, Eisenhuth, where Spencer Leniu, you knew that he was coming off the bench.
I like that Lindsay Smith too. I think he's going to turn into an Isaiah Yeo type of player.
Yeah,
I think in like 4 years, because you got to remember, Yoe's been in the league for like 8 years. He's been dominant for 3 or 4. Yeah. It took him a while to get going, but I like that Lindsay Smith. He just doesn't have the same punch as Fisher Harris and shit, though.
No. But you can have Fisher Harris on there, or Leota, one or the other. But they got a lot of experience, and they're too old. Not old. They're just machines, like Fisher Harris and Leota. They're in their prime.
I felt like Sharks were fucking like working their fucking asses off in this, and they still got beaten 28. Shout out to Cam McInnes.
Are you kidding me? 80-something tackles.
They were trying so hard, mate, but then they still lost 28-0.
That's scary.
That's scary.
That's a team and you know what, they would have went out to Penrith. They're like, fucking, she's all in out here. Let's see what we can get. And we got nothing.
Wado's the captain, like Penrith, old Penrith boy. He would have been pumped and had the boys up, and 28-0, and fuck.
And just a beatdown.
Losing Will Kennedy didn't help.
What's his name? Mitch Kenny. He was just hitting and hitting. He doesn't stop, man.
Yeah, I'd love to play. He's one of those guys you'd love to play with, Mitch Kenny.
Underrated.
Anything else on that game before we move on?
No, that was just a clinic.
Yeah.
It was brutal too.
Too good. All right, let's move on to the Bulldogs versus Dolphins. It's a scrappy time at times, wasn't it, Mace? Warm conditions? Looked like it was warm up there. Was it warm?
It was nice. Yeah. It was like 25 degrees.
Yeah.
It's different up there in Queensland. When it's 25 down here, you still got a little bit of a breeze, a little bit of a cold breeze. Up there, it's like hot.
Yeah. So if it's 25 degrees up there,
and we're like sort 30 down here.
We would have been training the last couple of weeks in 10 to 15s.
Yeah.
So you could tell it had a bit of effect. No, it shouldn't have been an excuse for the Dolphins because they looked equally as tired. But when you look out on that field and you see the Fox, you see Kickow, you see Preston, you see Toby Sexton, who's only new, but it just looks better.
Yeah, Pangai's
back starting.
Marnie,
like you look at him, you go, all right, looks like
a team.
That's a team. Yeah. That's an NRL team.
Yeah. It was hard for him, man. Like the thing is, they fucking won, right? Yeah. They've won 1 from 7. So these kids have been...
A few circumstances very lucky at the end of it.
Yeah. Yes. Very
lucky.
Yeah. It's like they didn't want the Dolphins to win. But they won, which was good. Averillo was a gun again. Kicks was good. It was scrappy, man.
Yeah. Scrappy first half and then become good in the second half. When we'll start, I wrote this down as well because I was looking at MILF and how there's such a high demand for veteran playmakers. If MILF goes away this year, honestly, and he's still got so many nice things in his game, right? It's a really good support player, really nice kicking game, nice touch, still got a nice step. If you run him, bro, MILF can fuck you up too.
Now.
He can pop you up.
Yeah.
Milf's got to go away. And if I was Milf, he's still 29 years old, Milf.
What?
He's only 29. The Milf.
He debuted in 2012, I think.
Yeah. So he's only still only 29. If I was him, I'd go away, have a really good off-season with nutrition, because you got to remember he's had a checkered couple of years with everything that's gone on, right? If he digs in, he should be looking at Chad Townsend's, Adam Reynolds, Sean Johnsons of the world.
What's 5 years?
Daly Cherry Evans, Kieran Foran. When you look at all those guys, right, what all of them got different to Anthony Milford?
No, nothing.
Just a little bit of mudders on Milf, right? That's all he's got.
Oh, looking-wise, yeah. He needs to, like, lose 6 kilos.
Yep. 5
Get back to the shape that he was in, like, 2012, 13.
Because everything else, because they've got everything. They're going to have, on their outside backs coming next year, you're going to have Avarillo, Herbie Farnworth, and Hammer fighting for centre positions and fullback. All three of them can play fullback. All three of them can play centres. You got Valence Tomates, who also needs to lose a little bit.
He's got 10 on him, I reckon.
If he needs 10, 15, and like genuinely needs to rip him because he's got such a high ceiling, but he can't consistently just get beat like he does all the
he's
time.
He's getting smoked.
Jermaine Osarko's set. He's had a form resurgence. Apart from that last kick at the end, felt sorry for him there. They just need halves. They've got Jersey Flegler coming in that front row. He'll pair up with Jesse. Jesse will probably go one more year. You got Felice, Tommy Gilbert, Lemuelu.
Yeah, got a side, man. They've got a decent side.
Team. Jeremy Marshall King. They've got a nice team, bro. They just need
You need a fucking full-on buy-in from him, from Milf. And he'll show you when he rocks up the pre-season in shape.
Yep.
And he'll show Wayne and he'll show everyone how he looks, because, like, just say if they finish the season in 4 or 5 weeks, he doesn't go on like holidays and all this sort of shit and eating crap and, going into that space.
Yep.
He comes back and he's lost his 4 or 5 kilos. He looks
it's
focused.
Not much, is it? It's not. It's just a couple kegs.
But it shows discipline, right? Yeah. So to your trainers, Jeremy Hickmans is up there with he was a trainer with the Knights up there. Like, he's under all that sort of shit. Great trainer. You got Wayne there, so you just showing these guys straight away. I'm all in, guys.
Yeah.
As I said, he's 29 years old. Ceiling is so high, and that's why he keeps getting keeps getting more chances, and it's going to run out soon.
I think he's got a good 3 or 4 years. You look at Cherry, 33, Reynolds, 33, all these guys, Sean Johnson, 33. But
Milf's
only 29.
We were saying last week when we were talking about the English players and that guys, like, what sort of plays should they go for?
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, the money's still the same over there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the money here is ridiculous. You can be an average player on 600,000 in the NRL, where over there you're not.
No.
So that's the only difference why they keep staying here, because the money is fucking so good. So it's worth your while.
It used to be a lot better back in the day to go to Super.
Yeah, I know. It was worth your while, but now it's like, well, you can be an average player and be on 650, 700 in the NRL.
Blake Taff signs with you guys, 2 years. You like that signing for you?
Yeah, I do. He's been good, man. Last couple of years.
He deserves an opportunity, doesn't he?
Deserves an opportunity to be a starter in a good club.
Yeah.
And I think he can get that.
There's all the chats around. I've seen a lot of the comments. A lot of people believe Steve Crichton was brought to play fullback. Do you think it's going to be a full-on competition for them, or do you think Critter's going to play centres and Taff will get fullback? How do you envision that without?
I didn't even think of that until then, because I was thinking Critter's probably one of the best right side centres or left side centres anywhere in the front line. I didn't even think that he was going to come and play fullback.
Oh, okay, that's what I just assumed. Well, we've never talked about it before.
No, but I think that'd be part of his plan. I thought he'd come here and want to be sort of have a whole preseason at fullback and just see and give it a proper red hot crack.
Yeah, good. So Taff sitting there, put some pressure on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good, especially because
Taff, just say if Taff could be a 14, right?
Yep.
He could just be in that side. He can, who's saying that he's going to come over here and play fullback for us for a whole year?
Yep.
No one's saying that. He doesn't. He's not proven in the game yet.
Yep.
He's been in a great system over there, but he needs to prove himself week in, week out, and I think he'll be looking forward to that to prove everyone wrong.
100%.
Because everyone's just like, you just fill in for Latrell every time he's injured. In a well-oiled machine.
He's a great kid. I've seen him a couple of times. Played a bit of golf with him. He's a good kid.
I heard his impression.
I think, kid. Yeah, I think you'll be impressed by him when you get to meet him, Mace. Titans versus Cowboys, 22-13. Titans were outstanding in this. I'll say that. I was riding the Cowboys because you obviously got the little multi going with a little bit of anytime jam, and I need them to get in the top 4. But credit to the Titans. They bounced back. They got smoked from the Roosters. I thought they were going to get smoked by the Cowboys. When you get to the lead like the Titans did, 22-13 with 20 minutes to go, bro, they just defended their line. like I haven't seen them do this year. It was one of the most impressive performances of the weekend for me, considering who they beat.
That's what would have been frustrating if you're the coach of those guys, right? Yeah. And you I hate looking back at games. You're like, why wasn't there that much like
Holbrook's going, where was that?
Like for your defensive like situations, right?
Yeah.
Like you got nothing really to play for. You know what I mean? Like why don't you play for that like the whole season? Have that sort of fucking they weren't letting anyone in.
That's why I have no intentions of ever being a coach. Fuck that.
I know. He'd be like, why'd you do that to me? You got me sacked.
Personal, taking it personal.
Like when it was like 26-0 and 14-0 and all these sort of games where they've lost about 5 games and that's 10 points would have put them up there in the top 4. Yeah. Like where was that?
You know,
and that's what's frustrating.
You know what makes me laugh when I watch the Titans? Like just for whatever reason, because I know him so well, you know what he's like a little bit. Just Fozzie running around with all these kids up there. He's on the Gold Coast. Yeah. He's the most opposite to a Gold Coast sort of guy. Like Foz, when I first got to Manly and he would have been 21, 22 or whatever, he always felt like a 42-year-old man.
He's
just got an old soul. And I'm just thinking about like all these kids, like Jaden Campbell does that backflip that fails. Brimo's always got a heap of energy with
He's old school, man. He thinks like me.
You've met Brimo before. You got Khan Pereira, who's just like this fucking young, cool, fucking vibey winger would prefer to chip and chase over a fullback than make the pass. And then you got the old man Fozzie up there with that crew. It's a funny dynamic. It makes me laugh all the time. But he was outstanding as well.
Yeah, unbelievable. He's the glue to that team, man.
Again, another veteran half.
Yeah.
He's basically, I know he wears the 6, but he's a halfback.
If his body holds up, he can play another 3 years easy.
Yep.
I just don't think he'll hold up.
Yeah, it's
like he's played some games.
He's got a few band-aids on him, doesn't he?
Yeah. You just wonder,
Is that it for? So the Cowboys missed the top 4 now.
Yeah,
it looks like. Well, they've got the Broncos this week. If they beat the Broncos in the back, they're a chance for a top 4. But I can't see that happening without Val.
No.
Val gets he's got slapped with a 3 to 4 match ban, depending on whether he fights it.
That's one of the silliest things I've seen anyone do.
Yeah, I give him.
Like he got his.
The Moses one was 50-50. That one was 100%.
Like a proper warning, right? They're going, okay, well, here's a fine, but don't do that shit again. Doubles down, bang.
Harder.
This is worse. You want a shoulder to the head? Here's a shoulder to the head. Send me off. So he's going to be 3 or 4 weeks. He's a big loss.
Yep.
Best centre in the game.
You got Val on the left, Nanai on the right.
I didn't think they'd lose Nanai and be so like obvious. I'm like, fuck.
The young kid, Finefeuiaki,
he's still be raw. He's raw. Like he's been coming off the bench and he's playing like really minimum minutes. Different ball game when you start. You know?
And, I think, the rumour was Ilam Lukey would have been close for this week. I reckon he comes back in. You can move that tearaway back to the bench.
Yeah, because he's got more footy in him, Lukey. So it spreads the offense. It spreads the defense so that it can hold out on. They weren't even looking at that young kid.
Yeah,
they were just going straight out the back just going straight on the Val.
He's always off the back fence.
Yeah,
Petter's on his side. Petter's on the right side with him. Because he's just straight off the back fence. He's got no variation. With Hylam's got a better engine and he's got a little bit more variety. But yeah, Titans, what a win. Jim Linehan's done a pretty good job considering what's happened, and it looks like maybe Desi's having an effect on this Titans straight away, eh?
It was a good game. It was just annoying because I picked the Cowboys and I just wanted them to go good.
Yeah. So
and they just like really, they were underwhelming, weren't they?
They were. I think initially they started slow and they thought they were going to, especially when they hit the lead, and they're like,
it's happening again.
Now we're going to pump them, and got to give Titans credit because, I think sometimes when you look at games, especially when there's a team that gets beaten by a team they shouldn't expect to lose by, you give credit. You go, they got a bit complacent. Yeah, Cowboys did, but Titans fucking forced them to. You know, what's been good for him, man, is that Chris Randall off the bench.
Yeah, clean line break.
Yeah,
he didn't know what he was doing.
Straight up the gut.
That's the word I was looking for. Desperation.
Yes.
The desperation they showed in their online defense and just everywhere around the paddock. I was like, where has he been?
Yeah.
And that's the big.
That is a big word, desperation. Because you're right, they kept on fucking.
They just kept on turning up, and like you expect
Tanner
that from
Boyd when he stopped. Is it Jakey Granville?
Yep.
And then the try saver on Tommy Dearden as well.
So I reckon that would have changed the whole game.
Yeah.
If he puts that down, then you got 20 minutes to chase 6.
Yeah.
They're getting about 3.
Yeah.
But I reckon it showed resilience, desperation, and they're the words that you don't really affiliate with Titans.
I reckon Tommy Dearden, if he because Tommy didn't get up and goes, nah. I reckon if he faked it, he didn't realise that it looked just 50-50 enough. Because if that had gone up,
because they watered it, yeah.
I reckon they would have been very hard to reverse. But you seen Fozzie was getting in his face.
Yeah, like, hey, back off, Kieran, back off. Anyway,
all right, we'll see you on preview. Another good show, mate.
All right, cheers, guys.
See you on Wednesday.